I was 7 years old when I got interested in music, and I can only thank really our teacher because he gave us the fundamentals of what it means to be a musician, brought the joy of music into us, but also prepared us for the big world. There's no character in my life that's meant more to me than the person that taught me about music.
Jupiter is one movement from the Holst's planets, and we've been invited to play along with Jupiter.
Jupiter by Gustav Holst is the bringer of jollity, and so the bringer of joy, bringer of laughter. So when we're projecting this piece, we need to project that laughter and how big it is.
Jupiter has one of the most beautiful soaring melodies that takes you to space. In that moment and in that melody, the world is greater than yourself.
Embedded in the orchestra right now are 54 music educators from 37 different cities.
I teach orchestra at the Minnetonka Middle Schools.
Madison, Minnesota.
Minneapolis Public Schools.
Chaska Middle School East and West.
Wayzata High School. Two Rivers High School in Mendota Heights.
The Rockridge Public Schools up in the Iron Range.
Austin High School in Austin, Minnesota.
I teach about 125 band and orchestra students and jazz students.
We have 300 plus students, approximately 120 students.
I have about 150 string students in grades 5 through 12.
The music educators that applied to be a part of the side-by-side, we were able to choose teachers of all different grade levels, teachers from public school, private school, homeschool, community education, everywhere in Minnesota.
Well, I always wanted to be an educator because music has had such a positive impact on my life. I've always had a deep connection to music, and for me, it's about the community.
We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us to celebrate this one-of-a-kind musical collaboration between musicians of the Minnesota Orchestra, music director Thomas Søndergärd, and music educators from across the state of Minnesota. Music education is at the heart of what we do at the Minnesota Orchestra. It is so important to us to be a part of this essential ecosystem around developing young people's love of music and appreciation for music. When we invited Thomas to be the 11th music director of the Minnesota Orchestra, we knew that education and engaging young people in music was so important to him, and that is one of the many reasons we felt like there was a great synergy and alignment between who Thomas is as a person, as a musician, and who we are as an organization. The intent of this experience is to advocate for music programs in schools and uplift Minnesota music educators and their students and families and administrators. With this program, the orchestra shines a spotlight on the dedicated teachers and administrators who work every day to bring music to their students' lives, and we want you to know that we recognize and support your invaluable work.
I can feel in the walls, I can hear it in the applause, I can see it in the smile in the audiences that they adore the work that we're doing here. And that is underlined when we then invite some of the enthusiastic people to come on stage to play with us.
What happened now through that we played this, I hear that the cellos and the basses, they play a little softer so they can better hear you. And that makes a better ensemble and a better tuning, actually.
These people that we meet so early on in our lives, our teachers and the educators, they have a great passion for being so. And I'm so proud to be part of giving these teachers a great experience so they can become better at what they're doing and also give them joy.
When we rehearsed with the educators, I had a chance to talk to people who are working in elementary through middle and high school about what they do for our children. And I felt like I learned so much from each person I talked to about their perspective on the work they do. It also gave me an opportunity to just say thank you.
This is an incredible experience that not just unites the music educators with the Minnesota Orchestra, it unites music educators in general. And I think that's incredible.
I wanted the opportunity to play harder music again and just to have the experience of playing in an ensemble next to wonderful musicians and showing my students that you can continue to play your instrument past middle school.
Part of a long tradition of this orchestra investing in the community, whether it's side by sides with students coming to our schools to coach and to perform. I think teachers, we've always been the coordinators of those kind of things. And now we get to both celebrate our own craft, but also learn from those who we admire so much.
I had the best high school orchestra teacher back in Chicago who really encouraged us to follow our passions no matter what it was. If it wasn't for someone who pushed me and supported me, I wouldn't be here.
I feel like I owe so much to the music teachers that I had in my elementary and middle and high school because they opened up for me a world of possibility that I don't think I would have accessed if I hadn't been given the opportunity to learn an instrument. The love that they showed me through their teaching and also the sense of belonging that I experienced as a kid in the orchestra helped to serve me in everything that I've done since school.
Getting to sit beside a high school teacher who's guiding 50 to 100 kids every single day and being a role model to the next generation, I have so much respect for her.
I was able to really just embrace the moment and play the music and really be part of one of the world's most famous and best orchestras. It was just an amazing, amazing moment.
I am so honored to have been a part of this experience, and I cannot wait to go back and share everything I've learned with my students.
Across all of our education programs at the orchestra, we reach thousands and thousands of kids every year throughout the state of Minnesota. There are several education programs that reach many different grade levels in many different ways, including the Young People's Concerts, which are primarily for grades 1 through 6. It is always fun to see their faces light up when they see the cubes and the orchestra on stage. We also have a program called Hall Pass where students and young adults can attend select orchestra concerts for free. And we also have kinder concerts for the pre-K and kinder kids. We have symphonic adventures. The orchestra visits a high school, a local high school, and does a performance.
It is with great pleasure and excitement that we welcome the Minnesota Orchestra to our building. Today marks, let's hear it for them.
Between each movement, there's narration so that students can get more background information about the composer, about whatever piece that they are playing. At Roseville, they played Schumann's Symphony No. 1, and we had Sam Bergman narrate and tell them more about that symphony.
Writing symphonies was not what he really had planned to do with his life. In fact, the story of Robert Schumann is a story of mislaid plans, of big ambitions brought low by the hand of fate.
I was able to look at things like bow holds and like how smoothly they were shifting from different positions, and it's nice to see how they are doing these techniques that I will end up using someday.
For our choir, we've been doing choreography, and a really important part of that is moving with each other and predicting what other people are going to do. And I thought it was amazing how all of the different sections could work together like that.
The first woman in the first row for violin, she was just like boom, boom, boom. It was crazy.
And the way that their like body gets into it too. I mean, you could just tell that they are so passionate about the music.
Yeah, and they just like adore it.
We had probably 700 students, and we brought all of our music classes. How many of these kids would never have seen the Minnesota Orchestra otherwise? And who knows how many light bulbs turned on, or how many people realized, oh, maybe I do play the trumpet in the school band, but I didn't realize that is possible. So showing kids what's out there and what's possible at the highest level, I think there were a lot of kids that were inspired today.
We always like to leave some time for questions for any of us, for Thomas, for the orchestra.
And I was so surprised how many students wanted to ask us questions during the Q&A, and that was just really telling how much they crave this interaction.
This is everyone's favorite question. The question is, how much do you practice every day?
Music is a part of our human experience. In my opinion, you can't connect to your full humanity unless you include music as a part of that. And yeah, we want students to be able to have successful careers, but we also want them to have a piece of humanity inside them that grows as they get older and deepens, and a way for them to express feelings that can't be expressed in words or on a piece of paper written down. It can only be expressed through sound. We want kids to have those experiences, to make them more genuine and deeper people. And to see, a group of 80 adults who do this as their job is just amazing.
I just thought it was really great that they came here, and I loved watching it, and I love being able to watch it with my friends and be able to experience that community together with my community.
It's allowing young musicians like myself to be able to see ourselves in positions that they are in right now.
Hopefully I can see Minnesota Orchestra and Orchestra Hall soon. That was really a good experience today, so thank you.
We love the Minnesota Orchestra.
We do love the Minnesota Orchestra.
Thanks so much, you guys, for having us out here. This was so much fun.
Wait, what stuff are you going to bring onto stage?
I'm just going to bring my music.
I've never seen a bigger orchestra in my life, I think. And welcome to friends, family. Let's go from the top. A Firebird.
We had the wonderful opportunity of bringing 100 of our top musicians to play side by side with the Minnesota Orchestra musicians on stage.
We had about 60 children who came. They're mostly in high school. Many of them are graduating into college next year. They're saying farewell to their high school years, and this was a huge send-off for them to end their career at MYS with a high note like this.
We are so fortunate in the Twin Cities to have two incredible youth orchestra organizations in GITSES and MYS. And how special for those two groups to come here to Orchestra Hall to have side-by-sides with our orchestra.
They got to play through the repertoire that they had been practicing in their ensembles with our musicians under the direction of Thomas Søndergärd.
Not least the percussion and trumpet here, to be a little bit more ahead. So xylophone, do this because you're far away.
So many of our students come to concerts to hear the Minnesota Orchestra, but then to be able to play alongside the pros in a place that they already love, it brings the music into a whole nother realm for them.
Snare drum, well done. I saw that you were not happy. I know the feeling. I used to also stand at the back of the orchestra. In the role, I want you to have a good experience because it's really tricky.
Well, when it comes to music education, just think about it. If someone played a sport and they were able to get on the field with the Vikings or get on the gymnast mat with Simone Biles, right? This would be the highlight of your life. Well, this is what we have right here. The Minnesota Orchestra, they're our Olympic team. And here they are side by side, playing the same music, developing a collegial relationship with them, and they're learning and absorbing. They're going to remember this for the rest of their lives.
Do you know what? I think these solos were so beautiful. Let's do that one more time. So let's do that from the top. One more time. Really bravo to all of you. One more time. Try and feel comfortable. That's why I hear the sound. Just think of it a little that you do have some soft cushion. Not a conductor that decides when it begins. Just think of a soft cushion, okay? Hopefully we'll be together. One, and... Yes! So like so many other things in life, we need to balance things. And even at an early stage, we need to forget about the techniques behind what we're doing, the way that we put words in our mouth, and come back sometimes to the origins. Why are we making music? Why are we interested in music? That is because it tells something about something that's difficult to describe in words. So awakening the fantasy. When we are kids, there's no limit to where our fantasy takes us. And the older we get, I find that we limit ourselves. And the music is actually there to recreate that whole, so the fantasy is brought back in our lives.
Playing with this just really made me realize how much I love music and how much I love being surrounded by people that are just insanely good at music.
I had never felt like that alive being on stage, and I was just so inspired, and now I'm pursuing it professionally.
The whole year leading up to this, I heard about it and I was like, I am so excited to be able to have that opportunity. And I'm going around telling all my friends, I get to play with professional musicians in the Minnesota Orchestra. How cool is that?
Young people learn so much from playing an instrument. Even if they don't go on to pursue professional music as a career, they're still going to show up here at Orchestra Hall as audience members, right? As patrons, and they're going to pass that love of music on to their own children and families and community.
This Music Educator side-by-side comes at a time when districts around Minnesota are reevaluating their arts and music programs, and we hope these concerts really show the impact that music and the arts have on not just the students and the teachers, but also the community and the state of Minnesota.
Instrumental music education is extremely important at the elementary level because that's when students are primed to get all of their cognitive benefits from it.
If we could give every kid access to instrumental music learning, what might that help accomplish? We need to offer that kind of a space to our children.
There's nothing more important than to be educated through music. The music is what really feeds the soul. The Minnesota Orchestra and I share the same passion for inspiring the young people. And the great thing about it is that it's received with such joy.